Welcome to Lakewood Lodge. My wife Danielle and myself, Steve, we are north of Deer River, Minnesota, about 2 hours from Duluth, 3.5 hours from Minneapolis. Lakewood Lodge is located in the heart of some of the best walleye fishing that Minnesota has to offer. Within a half hour of our location, 20 phenomenal fishing lakes, whether you're looking for bass, muskie, walleye, crappie, bluegills, whatever. Just a phenomenal area with great public accesses, great lakes, tons of different scenery. We're in the middle of the national forest. There's just so much to do with nature up here. We sit in an 80-acre bay of 4,300-acre sand lake. Lake is one of the top walleye fisheries in the state, has a large abundance of crappie, bluegill, and northern pike. Size-wise, 4,300 acres, we consider it a medium-sized lake for our area. For example, 7 miles away, we have Lake Winnibigoshish, which is 65,000 acres. We attach to Bowstring through the Bowstring River. Bowstring Lake itself is about 9,000 acres. But the unique part is there's so many differences between those lakes. Even though we're attached to Bowstring, it's a round bowl. It's a very good lake, but we have several bays, several islands. You can always get out of the wind. Even though we share fish, the structures of the lakes are extremely different. There's a lot of area attractions for families to take a day and go do. Lakewood Lodge currently sits on approximately 18 acres of land. We have approximately 830 feet of shoreline. 100 feet of that is nice sand beach that is maintained yearly. There is some room for expansion, but it's probably in the 4 to 5 acre range. So we built a cabin in 2004, another one in 2005, and remodeled two in 2005 that were built in 1994. And then in 2007, we put up 10 new buildings. So in conjunction with the cabins, we also have 2 new fish cleaning houses that are both year-round. They're heated and the water is accessible all year. We have a nice Morton building, which is a shop. It's a storage area for cleaning chemicals and linens. And it's also the guest utility room. And in the front of that is a small rental unit, very tough one to ever have open. It's booked pretty solid. Here in this building that we're sitting in right now is the lodge with a home attached to it, which is nice for access for doing laundry or cleaning dinner, but still taking care of the guests. So our house and lodge are half log sided. There's nice log beams, a gorgeous 3-story home, lots of windows overlooking the lake, beautiful sunsets at night. Nice screen porch, a deck overlooking the lake as well. Just a gorgeous piece of property. All the buildings we built in 04, 05, and 07, as well as our house and lodge, are all heated with in-floor heating. Electric boilers, it's a unit about that big, heats the whole thing, pumps antifreeze through the 16 inches of concrete. Very, very efficient in-floor heat. It's a wonderful heating system. We have dual heat, so we've got the in-floor heating on electric boilers, and then they also have propane fireplaces. So we've got dual fuel, which is very good for your electric bill. It cuts your bill in about half from the electric company. The property has 3 wells, runs into 3 different locations at the resort. They are all on softener systems. We have 7 separate septic systems. So we do have electric coming into the resort on a couple different locations, as well as cable. The lines are all buried on the property itself. We did go through the additional expense of burying all our water lines somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 feet deep. Septics are buried and insulated under the roads. And then again, we did spend the money to bury the electric lines and drop the overhead underground. In 04, we built our first cabin number 9. In 05, we built cabin number 1 and remodeled cabins 2 and 3, which were built in 94, added screen porches and those things. And then we had the opportunity in August of 06 to purchase the 12 acres of adjoining land. Proceeded put up 10 buildings. Property we sit on, there is room for additional expansion. Our maintenance building has a large overhead door. There's a second story built on part of it for storage. It's a nice large area for doing any kind of work that we need to do around the property. And then when you leave the storage area, you go into her room,
which I call Danny's room. It's my utility room, which is for the resort, where I keep all my cleaning chemicals, sheets for the resort. There is enough linens there for 1+ changeovers. Next to that room is the guest laundry room, and I've got 2 coin-off washers and dryers.
In 07, we put up 2 new fish cleaning houses. They're large, spacious, they're all stainless steel. There's 3 separate workstations, work areas with their own sinks, their own tables. Both our fish cleaning houses do have heaters in them. They've got hydrants that are 6 feet down, so they self-drain, so they are usable all winter long as well.
All the cabins are equipped with dishwashers, microwaves, air conditioning, fireplaces, cable TV, Wi-Fi, Weber gas grills, large screen porches with ceiling fans in every room and the screen port. Their homes away from home. They've all got their individual campfire rings. 5 cabins out of the 14 we have, they're going to be a little bit different. Cabin 2 and 3 were built in, we remodeled in 05. They do not have the dishwasher. 1 bathroom versus 2 bathrooms. 7 and 8 were probably our most original cabins to the resort, starting back in 1917. They were built in the 30s, the 2 that we kept. They're the older, typical Minnesota fish camp cabins. Nothing wrong with them. Dated cabin 8 a couple years ago. A lot of our guests like those 2 cabins because it gives them that feel of the Minnesota fish camp. Cabin 15 is the cabin that's off the back of the Morton building, which is the 1 bedroom on the main floor, lofted bedroom up, but people love that cabin because it's at the end of the resort. They've got their private yard, private dock.
Throughout the resort, there are several different sleeping arrangements, from a small 2-bedroom all the way up to a 5-bedroom, which can sleep up to 14. That'd be tenant beds, and then if you had little kids, you could put 4 on the 2 futons. So there's lots of varieties or options available. Some of the other amenities here at Lakewood Lodge, we've got a newer playground system. We have a nice beach. There's water toys, hydro bikes, kayaks, canoes, tetherball, basketball, volleyball, all the games you could take back to your cabin. Boats, we've got 3 different pontoons. Pontoons are very, very popular. 3 fishing boats, 3 Lund 16-foot boats, 2 of the standard older aluminum. There's a slide, a swim raft on the beach. We have 4 different dock systems. They're all floating docks, which we do have our own boat launch on site. A dock in front of cabin 12, and there's a dock in front of the lodge, which is basically just used for the lodge. People coming off the lake, coming up to the lodge to buy ice cream or a beer or whatever. We do have bait, gas, ice, full bar with a limited food menu, ice cream, candy. And then there's one more dock to the west, which is basically just used for cabins 14 and 15. Docks are all powered. We do have a full liquor license. We do not operate it as a bar. The next buyer or the next owner may choose to do that. During the summer, we shut it down at 8 o'clock at night. It's a family resort during the summer. We do have a limited food menu. And by limited food menu, I guess what I mean is we don't cook anything from a raw state. We don't have ovens and grills and those things. We have a deep fryer made by Broaster Chicken Company, and we have 2 pizza ovens, and everything takes less than 5 minutes. In a typical season, running full capacity in the summer weeks alone, we'll run somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 people through the resort. During the summer, we just do Saturday to Saturday rentals. There's no cleaning in the middle of the week. It's just Saturday come in, Saturday leave. Add in the shoulder seasons in the winter, we're probably pushing 2,000, 2,200 people over a season that we'll see. And 75 to 78% of those are repeats from year to year. And I'm gonna just throw a number out, but 10% of those people we see multiple weeks throughout the year. We've got a group of 9 guys that comes up from Green Bay in March. They'll be back in May, and they'll be back in September. So you get to know people pretty well. You get to see people quite a few times a year. Typically our operation is my wife and myself for 6 days a week. On Saturdays, she has a cleaning staff of approximately 7 or 8, depending on the staff that we have. I do have a company that comes in and mows for me. And my wife and I operate it 6.5 days a week by ourselves. We do have 7 girls or 8 girls that clean from 7 a.m. on Saturday morning to 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Then they're gone, and by 3 o'clock, which is our check-in time, the guests start rolling in. And from that point on, it's the 2 of us. Love the lifestyle. We get to spend time talking to guests about their lives and about hunting and fishing and just
Kids graduate.
Yeah, the relationships you build. There's not a state in this country that we can't drive through that if we don't stop somewhere, we're not getting chewed out by somebody. It's a great lifestyle, easy. We again, 2 of us operate it 6.5 days a week. We are open all year, although we do not take reservations in the month of April. Normally, because the ice is breaking up, it's not safe to be out. The snow's thawing, the grounds are muddy. From the first Saturday of June till the middle of August, it's families, there's kids. Outside of that, what we call our shoulder seasons, it's usually groups of guys. There's a few husband and wives that show up, but it's usually groups of guys fishing. We go right into bear season, deer season, grouse season, duck and goose season. And then by the time deer's over, we're just a couple of weeks away from the lake freezing, and we're snowmobiling and ice fishing. So it's a pretty constant flow. You do get a few breaks here and there, which is kind of nice if you want to travel and get away. So we say that we're open year round, but there's plenty of times to get away and have some fun and do some things. Advertising here is pretty simple. We do have the ability on our website to take online reservations. We run somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 70 guided trips a year out of here. And again, this is a very good area. Our grouse hunting's been phenomenal for the last 6 or 7 years. People coming off the East Coast, big money, big dollars. Deer hunting has been very good in the area. Bear hunting. Our county bags more ducks than any county in the state of Minnesota, basically because of the wild rice we have in the area. Financially, it would be feasible is putting out fish houses and plowing the lake. For health reasons, we've chose not to do that. But the winter business up here, there are very few resorts anymore that are open all year that have a bar.
That have the amenities
that
we do.
that have the amenities. We get a lot of people that stay here just because of the cabins. But if we had ice houses on top of that, it would be a large business sector that we have not tapped into. A resort down the road that just sold 4 years ago or something, they started putting out 9 houses, I believe, and it's just blown up for them. The business is there. We just choose not to because of issues in our lives. So defining summer as the ability for kids to be in the water and play on the beach and those types of things typically is the first Saturday in June through Labor Day for the most part. And then from fishing opener, which is generally the middle of May through early June, and then late August through middle of October, is typically groups of guys fishing, some retired couples coming up, those types of things. But the kids have kind of gone back to school, and so that's kind of gone away. Middle of October, we get into the strong hunting seasons all the way through the middle of November. Then there's a little bit of a lull unless we have an early winter. Then the spear fishermen will come in the middle of December, but it's dependent on the ice and the weather. But for sure by New Year's, that typically from New Year's through the middle of March when the ice starts breaking up, even though we don't advertise it and we don't chase it, we'll still have somewhere between 20 and 40 guys every weekend here fishing, 3-4 night stays, some week-long stays. But again, as you can tell by the numbers I'm talking about with the number of cabins we have, that business has easily grown. If you were to go do, say, this ice show in Duluth or the cities or something, that the business is there. We've just chosen not to go after it. And then we get a little lull in April, and then we're right back into fishing again, May fishing opener. Thank you for taking a look at Lakewood Lodge. It's a strong property, strong history, been built up year after year. The numbers keep going up. Acreage is there. The lake shore is beautiful. It's facing west. We have the most gorgeous sunsets at night. Cabins, most of them are newer. Still got 2 cabins that were built in the 30s, so that's what, 86 years ago. My cabins that I built last 86 years, everybody's gonna be happy. So the business is strong, it's fun, it's an absolutely wonderful lifestyle. Left corporate world, not a regret in the world. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. One thing about Lakewood Lodge is it's been recognized throughout the state, news stations, publications, tourist organizations, and is a highly rated, as one of the top resorts, one of the top ma and pa resorts in the state of Minnesota. And it's something we've been very proud of. Fox News out of Duluth picked 1 resort in Wisconsin and 1 in Minnesota, and it was Lakewood Lodge. And there's a reason for that. It's a beautiful piece of property and a very well operated resort.